Hi, my name is Carolina, and I am CON, Expanded Public Early Childhood Education Coverage. That's kind of a mouthful. I think it can be summarized really well with this quote from President Obama's 2013 State of the Union address. He says, "So tonight I propose working with states to make high-quality preschool available to every single child in America." As that quote says, President Obama's goal is to make preschool available to every child in America. The initiative is actually called Preschool for All. So I have a couple concerns with this. First and foremost, there are a few existing programs that do seek to provide care and preschool to preschool age students. The biggest one is called Head Start. Head Start has been around for about 45 years now. So this is what the goal of Head Start is from the White House website. Head Start programs provide comprehensive child development services that foster children's growth in social, emotional, cognitive, and physical development and monitor their progress in these areas to ensure that they are well prepared for kindergarten. So the ultimate goal of Head Start is to make children prepared for kindergarten. Head Start resides under Health and Human Services. That's the institution that reigns over them. So the goal of HHS is to create a well-aligned system of early learning for children, beginning with prenatal care and continuing through third grade. So this is the first flag to me. The literature has different statements. So Head Start doesn't just provide preschool. It depends on what area you're from to see what Head Start provides. It varies from area to area. So essentially, Head Start allocates funds to different institutions. They may be profitable institutions. They may be not-for-profit. They may be daycare centers, or they may be preschool centers. So there's a difference between daycare and preschool. One's an educational institution. One's a child care institution. The other thing Head Start provides is prenatal care. That's not care for just children, that's the care for the mothers as well. So basically, this is extending the breadth of government control a lot. And I think that there needs to be a differentiation between whether we're providing preschool for all or whether we're caring for children from birth, because there's a big difference. Although the ultimate goal of all is to make the child better prepared for kindergarten. So a big basis for this initiative is the fact that students that attend high-quality preschool do better in school later on. However, the really important indicator there is that it has to be high-quality preschool. So Head Start doesn't necessarily always do that. So like I explained, it's kind of a bureaucracy. They give money to a bunch of different institutions that are under them, and not all these institutions are the same, and they vary from area to area, and there are essentially little to no standards that these have to meet. It's just care for the children. So it's not like there's a preschool curriculum or anything like that. And unfortunately, this article is from Educators Weekly website. And it says, a 2010 U.S. Department of Health and Human Services study of Head Start found that by first grade, economically disadvantaged students with access to Head Start demonstrated almost no greater cognitive or emotional development than demographically similar students without access. So the indicator in all these studies that show that preschool can lead to a better future is that it has to be high quality. And currently, there are not standards set in place for Head Start. There's not a curriculum. Right now, in order to move on to second grade from first grade, you have to pass certain tests, you have to have certain skills, you have to know certain things. Is that what's going to happen now for preschool? Do you have to pass preschool to get to pre-K to get to kindergarten? I think that high quality is very important, but there's going to have to be some way to enforce this high quality. So is this going to be something that's taken on by the Department of Education? Can the Department of Education handle that right now? I know that like many other government institutions, they are in debt and schools are struggling, and programs have been created to kind of push schools to meet those standards, like No Child Left Behind, and schools have to make sure certain numbers of students pass and score in a certain range in order to do well. So are those standards and all those benchmarks and everything going to be expanded to preschool? Overall, I think we can agree that this is a huge endeavor, but I also think we can agree that in order for it to be successful, there have to be standards that are set. And currently, they're not set, and it doesn't seem like there's any plan of it being set because it talks about an expansion of Head Start. Yes, there will be some reforms, but it doesn't mention things like curriculum or exams and that type of thing, and that's concerning to me because if we're going to be investing so much time and money, which we're going to talk about next, in this program, then we need to be sure that it's successful. And as that 2010 study found, it isn't always. And that's something important to look at. So I mentioned money. The other thing about this is that it's going to be a $75 billion endeavor over the next 10 years. We know our government is already in debt. In order to pay for this endeavor, they propose increasing the tobacco tax yet again. And then the other thing that I'm concerned about is that, as I mentioned, Head Start is not the only program that currently exists for early childhood education. There are a bunch of other programs that are already in place, and I'm going to list a few of them. The Special Education Preschool Grant and State Grants Program, the Special Education Grants for Infants and Families, the Technical Assistance and Dissemination to Improve Services and Results for Children with Disabilities, and Personal Preparation to Improve Services and Results for Children with Disabilities. So all these programs I just mentioned are currently grouped under early childhood education. You'll notice that they all had stuff to do with children with disabilities. Obama's initiative is preschool for all. Nowhere in there does it mention children with disabilities or special needs. And as we're expanding Head Start, I think that it can be assumed that some of these other programs are going to fall to the wayside or perhaps be left in the dust. And as excuse me, so these funds are shared by both preschools and special needs students. And I think that we can all agree that it's very important to not overlook these special needs students, and that's something that might go awry in the expansion of Head Start. So, like I mentioned, funding, big issue. And then the standards set by Head Start are the other big issue. The final big issue that I have with this whole thing is that these different documents, all from the White House, state different things. The HHS wants to be involved from birth or from prenatal care till 3rd grade, but then President Obama wants them to be prepared for kindergarten. So what is the ultimate goal here? I think that ultimately this all comes back to setting standards. We need a curriculum. We need some strict guidelines set because you can't just create this program and then say you're going to be monitoring pregnant mothers, because that jumps from childcare and childhood education to the mother's health very quickly, and that's a big difference. And then, so finally, I just really think that there needs to be some more structure to this system, this proposal, before we can embark on this $75 billion endeavor. And I think it's also really important that we can definitively say that it's a good thing, that it's the right thing to do, because as some studies have shown, it takes high quality education, and Head Start does not always meet these standards.